Welcome to Meet Me at the Deli, a food advice podcast where the pickles and slaw are always free. I'm Liz.
And I'm Jeffrey. Every episode, we're answering your burning food and culinary questions, and we're sharing stories and insights from years working in the industry and living in our self-made shtetl.
But it's like I was watching something the other day ago. Lovely woman, Ribitzin, lovely woman. You know where from? And then of course she has this pastrami and mashed potato and some. And then she says, and there's a dipping sauce. Oh God, it has mayonnaise in it, doesn't it? The fourth food group of Neo-Hasidism is mayonnaise, for God's sakes. And I'm just like, I don't understand, and I don't understand because there is a soul food equivalent, which is the family that opens up the green beans, as opposed to sitting at the table, the whole ritual of snapping the green beans and getting the pot liquor ready and cooking them and not overdoing them, versus just the can and this. And it's about expedience. It's about expedience and profit. I mean, we're the only people in American history, to my knowledge, that had a whole riot over pricing. Also, we remember something. African Americans have had Jews who are African descent in our history, and also many more Black Muslims. And so there is a long narrative of us in choosing to eat certain foods over others, which I reference in KosherSoul. This goes back to the 18th century, if not before. But to say that in the Caribbean, certainly the exposure to kashrut goes back even further. But I'm just going to say that we've had a long time to develop these new food traditions. For example, a lot of Black families have foregone ham hocks and go for smoked turkey, and that's now 60 years in the running, older than me. And so we've had a lot more experience with, what do you do when you don't have certain things, but you want the certain kinds of flavor? And I think that's a really big part of, Black foodways altogether, is how do I get the right flavor? How do I get that, for us, smoky flavor is important. Spicy flavors are important. And because we were a diaspora that didn't always have control over where we went, what we had, we were always trying to figure out what can we exchange to make the food taste like home. And then we made a home, and then we, it's like gumbo, right, is okra-based stew, or stoop, I call it. And that's coming from various roots of West Central Africa, mixes with French and Spanish indigenous ingredients. And then that group makes the Great Migration to California. And then they add Dungeness crab into it. Whatever we had to do to keep that main form. So then you go into kosher food in terms of the industry, and also just local, businesses. And, it's also who makes the food. Who makes the food sets the table for how it's going to taste.
So the Passover Seder, you have these different components before you actually get to the final meal.
Yes.
And so when it comes to the egg, so how do you all eat your egg? How do you eat your egg, Liz?
We don't eat the egg.
Okay. Michael, how do you eat the egg?
The first course is hard-boiled eggs and salt water.
Okay, so I grew up also hard-boiled egg and salt water. So my family, we'd break up the egg, and then we have this egg soup.
Oh my God, one of those.
And I never knew this was
you break up the egg in the salt water and you eat it with a spoon.
So you have an egg in salt water. A lot of people just eat like a salted egg, and that's
what Michael's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in your family,
but my family, we all just break up the egg and then have this cold egg soup, and then we slurp this hard-boiled yolky briny liquid broth, and I love this. This is I couldn't wait for this egg, and I never had the egg in salt water any other time.
No.
And it was pointed out to me when an a friend came over for a Seder, and they're like, what is this is crazy. And I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is a bizarre thing. Who's having a cold hard-boiled egg soup?
So I think in terms of Southern pickling, I'll give you the joke that a lot of the difference here is sugar and hot pepper. And it really is because, Southern people, my husband is not one of those that, loves bread and butter pickles. I think that's fantastic. And then we have some people even make pickles that are made with moonshine. Or they're pickles like pickled okra. Or, these are mainly vinegar based pickles, apple cider vinegar especially, but pickled okra, a watermelon rind pickle. And then, of course, we think it's Southern, but I just wrote recipes in the American South, and I always knew that it wasn't just Southern chow chow. Okay, so chow chow is um, a melange of things: onions, cabbage, hot pepper, a little sugar, a little this, a little that. That's used as a relish in Southern food. Of course, we had cucumber-based pickles. Of course, we had all of that. Pickled onions. Sometimes the most god awful things in the world, like in the Mississippi Delta, they love something called a coolicle. Jeff, you ever heard about a coolicle before?
I don't know, cool.
What is a coolicle?
Okay, cool like Kool-Aid, cool like pickle.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. I've had Kool-Aid pickles.
And they look like a personal problem in the jar, if you know what I mean. I'm going to tell you all something really quick. I'm sad they didn't want to do it this year because, I don't know, money and issues, whatever. But 2 years running, we had a thing at the JCC in San Francisco. And Wise and Sons last year did a bang-up job helping put together. I laid out the menu. They helped execute it. We had a fun time.
For Juneteenth?
Yes, but it's a program we called Erev Juneteenth. So it was the night before the real Juneteenth. So Erev Juneteenth, and because I said that Juneteenth is an American holiday and is Jewish Americans are Americans. We need to figure out it's not. I strongly departed from people who were just like, "This is our space." Like, no. The minute it becomes a national holiday, you share with every other American. It becomes an opportunity for them to learn and engage and ask the question, okay, how can I apply these values, these lessons to my own life?
Well, here's the deal. I, unrelated to you, was looking for a special treat. One of my favorite treats. I also want to make sure people know about my favorite candy, which is, can you guess?
Yes, I could.
Goldenberg's Peanut Chews.
Chews.
So I know, and
Best.
I know. Did you grow up with these the way that I did?
I don't know, Jeffrey. I can't remember my life before you anymore.
I'm obsessed. I have friendships in the food world of other people similarly obsessed with peanut chews. We talk about peanut chews all the time. It is an underrated candy, but it used to be all around New York City. And the fact that I could not find this candy was driving me nuts. And I, at one point, deep dive the history of peanut chews, started in 1917, but the Goldenberg's confectionery was around since the 1890s. Romanian Jewish family. It started as a walnut chew. It was war rations in World War I.
It was a walnut chew?
Do you know why? Listen, if you open it,
I can't believe it's a walnut
I'm
chew.
gonna open. Okay, so for those who have never seen a peanut chew, it comes in like a tray with these 6 of these little bars. Do you know, Liz, why it's like this?
No. Wanted to take a guess, couldn't think of anything clever.
Well, first have a bite. Have a little peanut chew. 1930s Hollywood. You could share these at the movie theater.
No.
So here is this this Jewish candy company adapting to the times, creating this shareable.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. The one thing I love about peanut chews, the recipe has not changed at all. This version, which is the dairy-free version, this is the original. It's vegan. It's molasses, peanuts, and some chocolate. They say chocolatey coating because it's not actually chocolate. But one of the things I love about peanut chews the most is that they were bought by Just Born in 2003, the maker of Marshmallow Peeps. And when they tried to rebrand, they thought peanut chews could go national, and they removed the Goldenbergs and they changed the look of it. They're like, let's drop this Jewish thing. Let's go national. They called it Chewettes Peanut Chews, and they just disappeared. And for a long time, I just forgot about them. They were in the stores, but I couldn't even see them because they were no longer Goldenbergs. And so I forgot what the year, like 2008, 2009, they brought back the old vintage branding.
Oh my God. I can't believe I never knew any of this. I know this is your favorite candy.
Yeah, they brought back the Goldenbergs, peanut chews, and they just like,
They went all in. Shout out Goldenbergs. Let's find them. Let's meet them. I want to know. I want to meet you guys. I want to have coffee. Better yet, a pastrami sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Goldenbergs wants a pastrami sandwich.
This has been a He Media podcast.